Welcome. Week 1 was crazy. Woo!
Nuts, dude.
Insane.
First, I want to start this week, before we even get started, everyone, with some great news. Josh Gordon has passed his drug rehab again and has filed for NFL reinstatement.
Good for him.
Number 1 ad right there.
Yep.
Number 1 ad.
He will be a great practice squad addition.
Oh, yeah. Everyone, I'm Jason. To my right is, that's Melvin Gordon. We have Blake Starts, the commish. And then Kyle Saban, the Sabinator.
Let's go.
Let's go. This week's episode is real quick and sweet. We're just going to talk about league news. So, housekeeping items I'm supposed to go over. Okay. I started a new email for our podcast. We will have a link flashing here, somewhere here, maybe. Kyle, right over here. And what I'm hoping you guys can do is send me some pictures of your families. I know we got a lot of new kiddos in here, and it'd be kind of cool to put together a little PowerPoint for everybody to show at the beginning. Going over a week recap, our weekly high score, Mr. Jefe France, with a 159.25, throwing it down. So big bombs.
A lot of points there.
A lot of points, Bob. In terms of our weekly survivor loser, poor Blake Bayless.
Oh, you can't help but feel for the guy.
Can't help but feel for the guy.
To be fair, I think I should have been there. I was maybe beat him by a point, so you'll probably see my name there next week. So,
Kyle, I can say I can most certainly hope so. That means I'm still in it. So, Blake, let's talk trades. Go for it.
All right, so we had 2 just groundbreaking trades. The first one, maybe not so groundbreaking, happened before the Thursday night game. Did a little Mike Williams swap with A.J. Dillon, Blake to Blake trade, and didn't know it at the time, but they were actually back-to-back picks. So I gave A.J. Dillon to Bayless, who had Aaron Jones. So it made sense to me. I don't know. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I this was before, I think, the first slate of games. So, yeah, I mean, I think retrospectively looking at it, Mike Williams went off. But I still believe it's still a fair trade. One injury to Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon is a top 10 running back. And Mike Williams, I think, still has that capability to be that wide receiver too and give you some good points. So good trade overall.
Yeah, way to go, Blake.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, Bayless. You still suck. And the other trade was a little more interesting. We got Welch giving up Saquon and David Montgomery to Jason for Chris Carson and Daryl Henderson. Now, I have my own thoughts that I've shared with most of the group already, but I'll let Jason take this one.
Oh, great. That was it. Ready for that. Yes, big believer in David Montgomery, not so much a believer in Saquon yet. So I would say initially this trade looks, like I'm getting a big name. But the reality is I'm going to have to bench him for a week. I'm definitely benching him this week. You don't really know when he's going to be a consistent, reliable fantasy player. And in fantasy football, wins are important. Every week is important. When it comes down to the wire, every week matters. So I guess to be determined if fair. Daryl Henderson and Chris Carson are definitely more predictable. So yeah, I mean, obviously I'm happy with the trade, and I hope it works out for Welch, and I hope Carson goes off, and I hope Henderson continues to get the bulk of the workload. And got to wait for Saquon to come around. So. Fair is relative. I hope it works out for both of us.
we'll see. Kyle, you got any takes on that?
Yeah, I mean, there were, like Jason said, there were some pretty big names. Yeah, I think initially you're like, oh man, why did that go through? But
Hmm.
yeah, but then looking at the numbers and the team itself, I really do think it's again a fair trade between the two. I mean, really the biggest question marks of this trade would be Saquon versus Henderson. I kind of view Carson and Montgomery kind of 1-2. It's just splitting hairs at that point. But, uh, through the season, I mean, Henderson is on a powerful offense. I believe what the Rams are doing there. And then Saquon, volume is king. So you always follow that volume. So be interesting what will happen. And I think it'll be a little lopsided, more favored towards Welch this week, just because of the matchups. But it'll be interesting in these next couple of weeks what will happen.
Yep, I mostly agree, but I think Welch got done dirty right there. But we shall see. So that's all for the trades this week. I know we had a lot of proposals. I've been hearing a lot of chatter, so I expect lots more trades to come. But with that, let's move on to Kyle with the Snickers report.
Give me some of that tasty snacks. Some of that Snickers.
Yeah, so this one's real interesting. It's available to all of us through the app or the website. So, but we saw a lot of different changes going on. I mean, the biggest change happened with my team, which I was real surprised, moving from last place to fifth, and then the next one being Brett's team moving from seventh to last place. So appreciate it, Brett, taking that place for
That makes no
kept the seat
sense.
warm for you. So appreciate it. But yeah, there's a lot of movement, and with the final projections, you kind of take it with a grain of salt with what's going on and everything. But as I was kind of looking more over the league, our league, one of the questions that popped to my mind is, finding who's undervalued. And for this week that I saw was some random guy. I think Jake O'Neill is the team owner's name. Just with his roster construction, there's a lot of powerful names, like obviously CMC, leading that. But I also, I'm kind of leaning towards more Kenny Galladay. I think he's really just little that he showed this past week. I think he truly is going to be that wide receiver 2 you were hoping for through that. And then I see also that he has Michael Thomas on the bench. So if that Michael Thomas comes back to form, later in the year, this team could be something to watch. So that is a team that I feel is undervalued. They lost last week, but I think in these coming weeks with the players and everything, it will shape out. But one interesting aspect of the Snickers report was the trending down. Brett's team, going down from seventh to last place. And so, what are your guys' thoughts about that team?
Oh, well,
And he's on the dollar.
Brett's in trouble. When Sony
He's
Michelle
treading
is
water.
RB2, that's some big doo-doo. But you know how Brett did this last year where we looked at his roster and didn't think it was going to be a hoot and made the playoffs. So, who am I to speak? But I would think if I was in his position with Sony Michelle, I would be bidding most of my fab money on Elijah Wilkinson or figuring out a trade partner to give me running back depth. We got a long season ahead, and if your RB2 on your roster is getting 6 touches to 8 touches a game, he got 1 last week, but you would expect kind of a lower number from last week. But yeah, I don't know. That offense strikes really quick. So we saw them score really quickly multiple times, and the other team's offense was out there. So that's what kind of made. Anyways, I think it's an uphill battle there.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, sorry, Blake, you were going to say something.
What did he have an injury, or Sony Michel was his RB2? Can't remember.
I think he drafted Sony.
Oh no.
So
Hmm.
yeah, I think, but I mean, I just looked up his roster. I mean, there's some really good names. I mean, that can really go off any given week. I mean, Kyler Murray can win you a week. I still a big believer in Scary Terry and Tyler Lockett, last week, so yeah, I had the same feelings, last year, he made some good moves and some pickups and they really worked out. So I think this year will be the same.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's crazy.
We're all pulling for you, Breezy.
Yeah.
we are. Yes, sir. So yeah, so that's what it's just real interesting to keep up with these reports and kind of seeing what's going on with the league and what's coming up next. And so kind of digging in deeper, we're going to bring up a new segment called By the Numbers. And so Blake, what did you find out this week?
So by the numbers, really what we're looking at is just the free agent offers report. And the big pickup, the big target, I should say, this week was Elijah Mitchell, the 49ers running back. I mean, he came in and had a really nice week, so I think that's why he was so sought after. But I was kind of surprised that the offer wasn't higher. Honestly, $20 won it. I know you guys were saying the same thing, like $30, $40. I put in 17, and I thought that was going to be middle of the pack. But he did have the most offers on him. You two battled it out for Tim Patrick, whoever that is. Denver. What's with him? Who's he?
Yeah, Tim Patrick. He, Jerry Judy was injured, and so he'll be out. I believe he's on IR. And so
Judy's out 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Thanks. So yeah, and Tim Patrick, he was pretty sneaky last year, even with the bad quarterback play. He had some pretty big games, and even this last week, he scored a touchdown. I think he only had about 3 to 4 targets, so that's not too encouraging. But I think he'll be able to slot into that wide receiver too, pretty easily behind Sutton and especially in this matchup coming up against Jacksonville. And fortunately enough, I was the one who won it with $7. I was kind of holding my breath. I didn't think that was enough, but I was able to pull that off.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in Timmy P. The Broncos had so much depth this year that I'm obviously a Broncos fan, so I'm up in it. But they were actually trying to trade him, and they valued him at a second-round draft pick. So he's not a chum off the streets. And to that note, KJ Hamler's also a guy that could be very, very sneaky for your fantasy team. If you guys are in other leagues, Derek Canis got him in this one. Last week he had a 50-yard bomb he dropped, and he is just quick and fast. I'd say his comp set is probably like Sterling Shepard. He's very similar to Sterling Shepard. So anyways, those are two good options for you. Teddy looked really good. But in terms of Tim Patrick, the Broncos valued him at a second-round tender. He's a big body like Cortland Sutton. So he definitely, and he played when Sutton was out, the number 1A or 1B to Jerry Judy across last year. So, he's good, familiar with the offense, and I think it's a good pickup call. I was bummed not to see him on my team this morning.
Well, I just put him in my lineup right now, and so he'll score 0 somehow. So. But But another interesting note, just looking over our free agent offers report, running backs in our league are slim, and you gotta get it when you can. And so the running back that really caught my eye was Kenneth Gainwell from Philly. And just looking at our offers report, he was barely, or he was somebody bidded $4 for him, and there was only
Yeah, it's
two
pretty low.
offers. The other one was two, so that was pretty close with that. And yeah, what do you think about that, Blake?
Yeah, he was the one that I would have targeted. If I was going, if I knew I didn't want to spend big on Elijah, I would have definitely gone after Gainwell. But again, I would have thought 10, 12. I mean, because Philly, they've shown, they kind of like well, not to the extent of Cleveland, but they can have multiple 100-yard rushers in a game, I feel like. So it's not a bad thing to hold on to even the second stringer in Philly.
Definitely. Yeah, I was turning heads because he was turning my head because I've never really heard of him, and I saw him just on the NFL Red Zone, just scoring touchdowns, and I'm like, who is this guy? And
Mhm.
because initially I thought it was going to be Boston Scott, that 1-2 like last year with Miles Sanders, but yeah, that's a great pickup. I wish I bid it on him now, seeing everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and the only money that was really wasted here, we got you wasted $4 on the Browns D,
Yep.
and $2 looks like Tyler spent for Zach Pascal. So
Small.
could have got him for free.
Small.
Uh, but I think that's about all the numbers this week. What do we got next, Jay?
Are there any players that are dropped that we want to talk about?
That's a good question.
Or
Yeah.
dropped?
As of right now, what really caught my eye was James Conner. I think he had double digit attempts. Yeah, and I don't think his yardage was too high, but I mean you can see a clear path, if Chase Edmonds somehow were to get injured again, that's that clear path for James Conner to easily become an RB1 on that team with I think he'll still be a solid RB2 with RB1 upside.
So yeah, that's a little rich for my blood. I think he's I don't know. It's kind of like you got to wait and see what's going down.
Yeah.
Kyler's same argument as Cam Newton over there. When Cam Newton, rest in peace, Cam, was a Patriot. I miss those daps, I tell you what. But I think it's one of those situations. For me, I just got to want to see what the offense looks like. I think if I'm plugging somebody into my lineup, I either want high upside, which you could argue is limited for Connor, and then what's his ceiling? Like 15 points is as high as you guys can see him going. I mean, on like one of his a good week, right? Would be like 60 yards, 70 yards in a tutty.
Yeah, I would agree.
And that I don't know. I don't know if that wins you a ship. But good to have an escape hatch for sure. So if you need some RB depth, Brett, look at James Conner, my dude. Then that would be something I'm interested in. Now, I thought it was interesting. Let's talk about this guy. Curtis Samuel, what are you doing? Are you waiting on this, or are you out on anything Redskins with Heineke in there, Commish?
I would say no. I would say I would stay in on him just because what we saw him do for Brett last year literally won him like 2 clutch games down the stretch. But I don't know. I mean, I think playing Scary Terry is faith enough. I don't know if I would go as far as Curtis Samuel though. I don't know.
Kyle, I pose you the question: Curtis Samuel or Callaway from the Saints?
Ooh. Oh man, I know in the last episode I was talking him up and had to eat my words.
Yeah.
Well,
Did he
is
even
there?
catch a pass?
Yeah.
Uh,
Is it? Sorry, go
I'm
ahead,
not
Kyle.
sure. Maybe he did.
My argument would
You
be
don't
there
know.
is still in the realm of possibilities for Callaway to be a leading wide receiver on the team. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
I will,
that's what I'm leaning more towards is Callaway. I think is the better pickup right now. Just with everything going on and seeing how that Washington offense will be, under with that new quarterback. You already know Jameis. He's looking really good. I think he's even a streamer this week if you need a QB in your other leagues. But yeah, I think Callaway offer those two.
The Saints are just kind of a conundrum, not a conundrum, but Winston had I think like
Weird.
150 yards. So you had Kamara with like 20 rushes, and then Jones Jr. with another 10, I think, right around those numbers. I mean, that's 30 plays where they're just controlling the ball.
Yeah.
5 TDs is pretty slick.
I think Jameis just threw like under 20 passes. I think it was like a low amount and he got 5 touchdowns. So just something bizarre like that.
I'm going to pull it up right now for our
yeah, probably will not be the usual
14 for 20.
Wow. Yeah, I think, there's some interesting stuff going on in the league and, we're hoping to keep these episodes more towards the league info. So definitely if you have suggestions, I know the trading block, as we discussed earlier, was a suggestion from a team member. So yeah, if you have anything else, definitely let us know. But yeah, we're hoping to keep this content relevant to this league and going forward. But you have anything else to add, Blake?
Spit out the average kind of key average stats.
That's right,
QB this week, the average score was 23.94. Tight end average was 10.26, and the total was 118.91 for the overall score. Those were the averages. So
I did not reach any of those benchmarks. But that's great. 10 points from your tight end. I felt that seems a little high to me.
That's a good week for tight ends, I think.
Definitely. Yeah. I feel like if you don't have the top 3, 5 to 7 points at tight ends, you're doing pretty good. So
yeah, it was a pretty good week. I think the Lamar had a comeback. Whoever was on his team, or whoever had Lamar, had a nice comeback win. So hopefully get another game like that, maybe Monday night.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, well, I appreciate everyone tuning in and staying with us. Just one quick question, Blake. Who do you got tomorrow? Washington or the Giants?
Oh, it's going to be just a magnificent game of professional football. I got Washington, and Curtis Samuel might end up going off just because I didn't back him tonight. We'll find out.
And I just asked Blake, Washington or Giants tomorrow?
Oh man, that's like comparing a crab apple to like a rotten tomato. I mean, who cares, really?
Yeah.
I don't really care. Does anybody care here?
Sure
I'll throw the Giants on. I think they have a stout D. And if Daniel Jones doesn't have a weekly butt fumble moment, they should win more football games. So I'm going to go with the Giants.
Wow. I'm going with Washington, but that's crazy. Yeah. All righty. Well, that's a hot take right there.
Is it hot? I don't think it's that hot. I feel like it's
It's pretty warm.
It's lukewarm.
all right. I'll let you guys stick with Heineke and the Ron Rivera boys. Yo, Ron or Cam Newton to Washington would be sick.
That
That would be
nice.
kind of cool.
Reunite the clan.
Not gonna lie, that'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll tune in to Thursday, see who wins. And once again, yeah, appreciate you tuning in and signing off.
See y'all next week.
Melvin Gordon for president.
Nah.
Yeah.